amazing place that attracts tourists from around the globe just to indulge in the stunning beauty of this marine marvel. But El Niños and warm temperature rises have threatened this ecosystem heavily. The Reefscapers project run by the team and Four Seasons is a great way of ensuring an alternative solution for the dying coral populations in and around the islands. Zoe explained to me that the process of coral regeneration is about using broken coral pieces to help grow larger gardens of corals in the natural reef systems.
Sort of quite a few things really. It's all about well, firstly helping the Maldivian reef because a lot of the corals died in 1998 because of the bleaching event, so higher water temperatures. So the Maldives lost maybe 80 to 90% of their reefs, corals in some areas. So the idea of this project is by sort of putting some corals on these structures. When the corals get a little bit older, like maybe 1 or 2 years, they will start to reproduce sexually. So they produce small larvae, and then these coral larvae will drift around in the currents and then settle on the natural reef. So we're hoping to sort of help build up the natural reef this way by having as many structures in the water as possible.
The project is also an interactive tool for the guests who come to the resort to learn about the vulnerability of the coral systems in the Maldives.
It's also great for our guests as like an education tool. A lot of them come here, they fall in love with the Maldives, they think it's beautiful, they love the coral and the fish, so by doing a frame with them, it kind of educates them about corals and why they're so important for the environment and to the Maldives, who really rely on them.
And the project has other benefits as well. Having an artificial reef around the island helps as a site for beginner snorkelers, minimizing the threat on the natural reefs, as well as attract more fish species in and around the ecosystem of the island.
And then also, if we have got beginner snorkelers and they're sort of in the channel where our frames are, and if they damage the frames, it's not too much of an issue. We can collect the broken fragments and then transplant them onto additional frames. So it's better for them to sort of break the artificial reef than the natural reef really as well. So quite a few things really. But since I've been here, I've noticed a huge change in just sort of numbers of fish, diversity. We've got sharks coming in, stingrays, giant morays live there. It's like an amazing habitat.
And of course, I could not resist the opportunity to get myself involved in the coral regeneration process and help Zoe put in a new frame on the reef bed of the island.
So corals, they also reproduce asexually, so they just divide by budding. So by taking a piece from one colony and attaching it onto here, it will just grow into another colony. So it'll be pretty much the same replica of the one we took. So we're just kind of helping it along really. So what we do, we try and get as much of the coral on the bar as possible. And then we just attach it with a cable tie. And once it's nice and tight, then we just cut off this part of the cable tie. And then within sort of 2 to 3 weeks, the coral grows over the cable tie, and then it will attach to the bar as well. So you can't actually see the tie at all, and then it will sort of grow into a whole new colony. And then this whole frame will be covered in about 2 years. So these species are quite quick. They grow sort of 10 to 20 centimeters a year. And then this species is a little bit slower. It'll probably just grow maybe sort of 2, 3, 4 centimeters a year. But yeah, so this will all be covered, and then fish will start recruiting to the area pretty much as soon as we put it in the water. Something will be living under it or in it. So yeah, this is how we do it. So
after we put the coral frame in the reef of the island, I hopped in the water to swim around the bed of coral frames that is already growing in and around the islands.
Just sort of more in the middle, we have some older frames. They're about 2 years old. And then on the outside, we have a lot of sort of smaller frames. And these ones are from sort of June last year, so about 15 months old. And you can see just here they're starting to grow nicely. Lots of fish already, just swimming around. Also, we just have a little anemone here with some 5 Clark's anemone fish, and these were bred in the fish lab up in the other Four Seasons resort in Landajararu, and we've just introduced them to the anemone last week. These are the ones I was just showing you before, so that's nice. as well. I can point it out. When our guests come in, they can like follow the path of coral up the end. This is a nice one here, very beautiful. A lot of the guests, they like this coral and they normally like request to have it on their frame. And then we have lots that are nice blue colours. Over here. So often you can't see the frame at all the coral completely covers it. This frame is probably maybe about 3 years old. This branching species grows very quickly and it will like cover the frame in about two years. But yeah, there's quite a few frames like this. They're just like maybe like 3-4 meters across. So yeah, great habitat for fish. They live there for protection. So different species can have different colours. I mean, sorry, the same species can have different colours. So you can get like, yeah, blues and pinks, and yeah, it's nice. But yeah, a lot makes it hard to identify them. So these are the Maldivian clownfish. So we have 2 there. Nearly the end of the beach. So yeah, we have maybe 420, 430 frames in this area. And you can see how much of a beautiful habitat it is.